everybody. We have a fantastic interview with the race organiser for this year's 2004 Molokai event. The original federation that started running the race was back in 1976, and that federation has run the event for about 30 out of the 37 years the races has been coming across the channel. So Jim Foti, who's actually in charge of the federation, is now responsible for how this year's 2014 event unfolds, and I'm sure the conversation that we have following you'll enjoy and get a heck of a lot of information if you're interested in travelling to Molokai for the Great Ocean Race. So enjoy. Right, Jim, well, thanks very much for your time. And many years ago I first attended the Molokai race, and it was run by the federation that of course you're working within over in Hawaii at the moment. Can you tell everybody what that is and what your thoughts are on the federation getting back involved in the event this year?
Yeah, well, Kanaka Ikaika Racing Association was founded in 1976. Doc Dale Adams actually started the association by crossing the channel in a surf ski for the first time back in 76. He just did it all by himself. It wasn't even a race. And then after that, that's when he really founded the association, and then started the race. And little by little it grew, and I think it was just a local race until, for 2-3 years. And I think Grant came and maybe won it in 79, and he was 16 or 17 years old or something. And it, the association grew and evolved and developed over the years. Molokai was the marquee event, but there's a series that leads up to it of a lot of different close shore water races as time went on, and the other crafts, paddle crafts, kind of emerged a little bit more. The OC1, outrigger canoes, and paddle boards and stand-ups there all have been welcomed into the association and the races as we like to promote paddle sports. So it started out, primarily as a surf ski organization. Now it's all the above. So then in the mid 2000s, the association's been run by different parties through the years, and for whatever reason, whoever was running it at that time just was fed up with it, couldn't deal with it, because it is a lot of work, and a lot of it is volunteer time. And so they gave it up, and it went off in different directions. Epic ran it for a while, and different people have kind of been at the helm. And last year was Jen McTeague was running it, and she got fed up with it and just got too much going on, couldn't handle it on her plate. And so when we heard that, we said, hey, it's time for this to come home. This is my second year running the association, but I've been right along with it, for all the years that I've been paddling, which is quite a few now. So real in tune with it all, and I've always had ideas of what I would want to do and how I would want to tweak it. So we're little by little, this is only being our second year at the driver's wheel, we're slowly starting to form our way, and then Molokai came back to us. I was figuring I wanted to run a Molokai race, but I didn't realize that it would come right back right away. So it just got plopped back in our lap. So that's why we're a little late to be posting stuff, and we don't have all the information up yet online, just because it's like, oh, really? Okay, we're gonna run it. Sure. Okay, let us get on it. And then the holidays and all that stuff. So we've got a lot of base going on right now, where we're getting ready to be able to put up information where people can see what's happening in 2014.
All right.
So
all right.
There's a little background on the association and our involvement with Molokai.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, I mean, I understand the race has run for about 37 years in a row, and nearly 30 of those years the Federation has actually run the event. I've been coming to Hawaii, my first Molokai was 1989, so, you know, this is about the 24th or 25th year that from when I first started the race, and as I said, the Federation ran the majority of those races, and I always found that the event ran very, very well. So the people that have been carrying, I suppose, the event individually or with small groups for the last 8 or so years have done, you know, quite a good job. And I think the slightly later race start with flights over in the morning to help people save money and a few different things like that were certainly nice pluses for the event, because everyone had the option to just book one piece of accommodation per night that they're in Hawaii somewhere, and just travel over for the morning of the race and then do the race back with their escort guy. So is that something that you think you're looking to try and continue?
Yeah, I like that concept. It does make it a lot easier if you just fly in the morning, take care of your race, and you're back on Oahu. You know, it's nice to spend time in Molokai if you've got the time and money to do it. It's real relaxing. It's a great way to prep up for your race, and you know, a fantastic experience. But it's not plausible for everybody. It's not as economically attractive.
Yeah.
So we are looking at a later start. You know, I'd like to stick with that format, and then we are gonna kind of look into how to you know, charter flights or what have you, how to help make available ways to get to Molokai in the morning versus just plain commercial airlines. So, you know, I know there's some groups that have done it in the past, and then I know, you know, we've been flying Molokai with different charter flight companies for years too. So you got to kind of look into some of those things and figure out the best way to make that work so that it's as user friendly and cost effective as possible for the paddlers.
Okay, Jim, just talking about a couple of other big logistics for the race. Of course, every year that I've paddled the race, which has been 9 times, I've had to have an escort boat beside me, and it's certainly one of the biggest expenses every paddler faces when we come to Hawaii. I'm a very big supporter in keeping escort boats. I know some of the other really experienced guys go either way on the issue, but I've been in the channel when it gets pretty bumpy and pretty big a couple of times, and I can say I've had my heart in my mouth a couple of times when I've been pitched off through the air, and I've been quite fortunate in other years when I've had drink bottle issues or something like that, that the escort boat created still a very good experience for me in the race because I had everything there that I needed. So what's your thought about escort boats, and are they definitely part of this year's race?
Yeah, I'm very well aware of that debate, and a big debate it is. But I feel that the channel is big, and you can get lost in that channel really easily. And if it happens to be the kind of day we all want it to be, just downwind, smoking wind, right? You know, the all-time channel, and they come up every now and again. And you don't have an escort boat, and something goes wrong, your cable, I mean, whatever it might be, you're in trouble.
Yep.
You know, sure, you've got a GPS or something, and then what? You got to call the Coast Guard, and that's, you know, tens of thousands of dollars in taxpayers' money. So one, I was going to talk to the Coast Guard and just see what their take on it, and I'm pretty sure I know what their answer is going to be. But two, I think from a safety standpoint, it's just a little safer to say we should have your own escort boat. Even the top guys, you know, you never know what might go wrong. Something that, you know, not everybody every year always has the perfect lineup in their body, and the stars don't always line up, and every now and again somebody really good bumps and you could pass out.
Yep.
You know, your dehydration, you're something, maybe you were sick and you didn't even know it. and you're halfway in the middle of the channel, and you start seeing God, and then you faint, and you're in the water, and it's a done deal. So I don't know. I'm in favor of escort boats. I know it's a big cost and all that. I'm still open to talking to the Coast Guard. You know, I'm talking to some people about some GPS devices and all that stuff. But that's my thought is leaning towards, you know, safety is really kind of paramount, and before all, you know, last thing we want to do is lose somebody in the channel, and that could ruin it for all the channel races that we'll ever do.
Yeah, because my knowledge of the 37 years that the race has been run is there's never been a person that has actually died during the event for any cause whatsoever, and I certainly know a lot of people personally that went through a lot of hardship at times in the channel, whether it be flat or big. So, I mean, while there's a lot of the very experienced guys, and the majority of these opinions come from very experienced guys, where they say, hey, you know, just have a whole bunch of course boats out there and just have everyone paddling with a PFD and a flare, and that's fine when you're doing a coastal race. But I've been in Molokai sometimes, and I can handle my ski in fairly big conditions because I've been doing it for nearly 40 years. And I find that I have my heart in my mouth occasionally too, especially when you get pitched off. So I just think this race is one of those events that will really struggle to be a great event and hold good insurance and continue without that security of close contact with escort.
Yeah. So it's a hard subject, but I think the reality is that it's going to have to continue with the escort boats. So that's my gut at this point.
Okay, well, I'm sure everybody will, you know, get the details as all the released information comes out on all those bits and pieces on how they acquire escort boats, like usually happens with the event. But moving on to the race week itself, the briefings have always been either on a Thursday or Friday evening for people trying to plan their trips over to Hawaii and then their holidays afterwards. Some guys come in pretty late, other people come in about a week or 2 weeks early, depending on where they've come from. What's the thinking about the race week itself? Would the briefings be on that similar sort of time frame before the race, and then, you know, the race itself still being on a one-day window, not being in multiple days where it could be run?
Yeah, pretty much keep that format. Thursday is a good day for a briefing. You know, a lot of people leave early, and so they're out of there on Friday already. So I would think Thursday is a good day, right? Having a window for the race, like the surf contest, has a waiting period, is you know, a really good idea, but it's going to be hard to pull off. I mean, you know, escort boats, paddlers, especially like the escort boats. These are people, local people who are fishermen, and they've got jobs or they've got occupations, and they take the day off. They make sure they've got those 2 days to drive up there. And so if it was, hey, you've got to take off Thursday to Sunday because we're going to hold the race on any one of those 4 days, you know, they might say, okay, sure, you know, hire me for 3 days, $3,000 for an escort boat. Hey, you know, there's a lot of variables that are really hard to tackle with that one. So where I'm coming from, especially in my first year and late, getting the race back really late in the game, you know, you'd like to have a whole year to prepare. I don't want to change too many things. You know, keep the new variables to a minimum so that this can go as smooth as possible. And of course, we'd like it to go smoother than ever and be the best event possible. But at this point, you know, I just want to make sure it goes off well. The race itself happens well. You know, all the details are in place. And then if we can start adding extra frills and things afterwards. So, waiting period, I can't do it.
Yep. No, that's fine. Look, and I'm a little bit of a traditionalist, so I don't have a problem with that. I know if it's flat, I've done the race when it's been like absolute mirror flat and mid-30s, and it's a tough day at the office. It's a really tough experience that you never forget for all the wrong reasons. But when the channel blows up big, it's one hell of an experience, and I think that's all part of Molokai. Prepare well, prepare for anything, and you'll have a good experience, you know?
That's right. Well, the way I figure it is we're paddlers, right? And what do paddlers do? We paddle. So here's, in Hawaii, everybody, downwind, Hawaii Kai, Hawaii Kai. Oh, it's not windy. I'm not going to go paddling today. It's like, well, no wonder we get our asses kicked in the Molokai Hoi and the six-man by the Tahitians, because they don't look at the wind. They just go training.
Yep. And
they don't care. If it's windy, bonus. So, the rest of the world, we look at it all that way too. It's outrigger, surf ski. There's parallels, but I mean that's a really good model to use. It's like, hey, we're paddlers. The day is what the day is, and you just got to do it.
And it's quite interesting, but the majority of comments about trying to get the race over a number of days so you can pick the perfect or the best wind option that's available, and also having an event that's not paddled in the flat. The majority, of course, all the comments come from us older boys, where we want a surfing race. The experience lies most of the time with the older competitors because they've had more time in the ocean, they understand the process, and they know how to conserve. But you have to actually paddle the race, and of course it's a totally different animal that has to cross the channel. So I think we have to be very careful that we don't just make the event for an over 40s brigade and cut out the athleticism that is a great part of the race.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot. Like you said, that's one of the great things about the channel. The channel is always different.
Yep.
Every crossing that I've done, which is, I don't know, all said and done, 40 channels or something, as they've all been a little different. I've had some just unbelievable bombing channels, and I've had some just, miserable flat, but they're all great experiences. At the end of the day, you remember them all. Well, you remember as many of them as you can, and they're all memorable, whatever it is. So, that's just the way we got to do it. You just got to be ready for a flat channel, and if you get the bonus, then the old guys are stoked. They get a chance.
I agree.
Otherwise, we've got age group to fall back on.
Yeah, that's right. All those years of experience, you got to draw on everything when it's flat.
Yeah.
But on one other issue, the race has finished in a number of locations over the years of its 37-year history. Of course, down near the Outrigger Club in Waikiki, and also near the brewery up in Hawaii Kai Marina, and then, of course, near the shopping centre just under the bridge at Hawaii Kai Marina. So where are you expecting this year that the race will finish? Do you know?
I'm shooting for under the bridge, to the left or to the right. Still got meetings with parties on both sides to see what's going to work best. Be it at the Kona Brewery, is it Cha Cha Cha? I mean, there's the Shack. There's just the Hawaii Kai Town Center itself. The paddleboard race just ends at the little keyhole, bathhouse over there too. So I mean, that's even an option. Not even going under the bridge and just finishing right there. So we're working on all those details. It's a lot of details, and they're coming. So.
Beautiful. Okay. So for the details for people that are interested in finding out, because naturally everybody that I speak with or email, especially that has anything to do with Hawaii or ocean ski paddling, I usually have a little blurb that I paste down the bottom of my messages to say this year's 2004 Molokai will be run by the Federation, which is the name, and the website is there for them to go to. So when they click and go to the website, they need to, I think, scroll down to race 11 of the series. Is that right? Is that what Molokai is, race 11 of your series this year?
That's right. Scroll down to race 11 of the series, and then pretty soon we'll have there'll be a hyperlink, see more, and then there might even be its own link heading under there because it's a pretty big one that you'll have no problem finding. Molokai information. Basically hit race information, and then there's a big drop down menu there. So it'll be pretty obvious to find once we get it all up. So another week or something, and I'll start having some good info up there.
Okay. Well, I think that's starting to give everybody a pretty good idea of exactly what can be coming for the race this year. Look, I think as you've said, the race has gone through quite a few different phases since 2006 when the Federation stopped running the event. And I know there's a lot of people that I've spoken to in Hawaii that have not only run the event since then, but have also been a part of trying to help, that are very happy the Federation has the event back. And I think, the opportunity this year for paddlers to get back involved in Molokai and also continue their journey across the channel in Molokai is still very much a pride of the paddling place in their bucket list.
Yeah, it's a big event. It's got a lot of history, and it's had a lot of great people helping it keep it what it is. And it's my turn, so we're gonna try not to fail on my watch.
I'm sure that'll be fine. Well, for our what I've asked Dean Gardner and Oscar to make a comment on when we've had our chats recently about the race and their experiences, and you've certainly mentioned that you've maybe done about 40 channel crossings. Maybe just in a couple of points or 3 points that you would advise people to make sure that they've considered or that they think about or that they definitely should do before doing Molokai, especially if they're a first or second timer?
Right, yeah. If you're first or second timer, obviously it's a whole new world out there. You gotta just make sure that you've got enough. They're the basics, You got enough fluids, you got enough food, you know what you're eating. And have you eaten it before? Have you drinking that stuff before? Don't test something out in the Molokai race. Make sure your body is accustomed to whatever you're going to throw at it or throw in it, because you've got 3, 4, 5+ hours out there, and so you don't want to shock yourself. That's your main thing is to, as far as I'm concerned, making sure you're hydrated and ready for a long haul, and you're not going to shock yourself with something crazy. It's a long race. Don't let it scare you. Do it, piece by piece. Enjoy yourself through the process. Don't stress yourself out over it. And get your rest. Overtrain yourself into it, and then et cetera. But I think the part about knowing what you're going to put in your body and making sure you can handle it, because that can ruin your day.
Yes, it can. Yeah, I agree entirely. There was a couple of things that I know with your crossings you would have experienced, and Oscar said make sure you have a boat that you're stable in, because you can go to Hawaii and do all the paddles from Hawaii Kai down to Outrigger, where they put a lot of paddle backs on for the internationals sometimes that come over. There's that trailer that sometimes goes up, and they have some paddle backs to get people used to the water and how it moves. But between Hawaii Kai and Waikiki is pretty mellow. Between Hawaii Kai, where you come around for the finish, and over at Molokai, that channel between there that you're going to race across can be pretty wild. So you need to make sure you got good stability in your boat. What do you think about that?
Yeah, of course, right. It's a good point, because I'm over here just thinking, I know my equipment, but a lot of people are coming from abroad, so you're borrowing equipment, getting what you can. So make sure you know what you're getting, if you're comfortable with what you're paddling. If you're not, make sure you're able to get on it a bunch and paddle. Everybody's at different levels, right? And so you've got to make sure you're within your means. Because it can get pretty sloppy in some areas, and you are quartering, so it can be challenging. So definitely, that's a very good point, is know your equipment, check your equipment, make sure you're comfortable in what you're going to be sitting in for, 4 hours plus or minus.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So, and just finally, if you had to summarize up the things you've heard about across the channel, the experiences you've had yourself, just in one short sentence, what would be your description of what they call the Kaiwi channel, or the Channel of Bones? What would the description that you would say about the Molokai channel be for you?
Well, the channel has always been the focal point of my year. Year in and year out. It's kind of been the goal, the goal of life for the year. Like it or not, wives and families and jobs and all that. But and when you're in it, it's it's an intangible spiritual feeling you get. It's an accomplishment. No matter where you finish, if you win, that's it's incredible. But a lot of people are just crossing it as winning, and
Yes.
And so just taking the richness of the history and just taking it all in when you're in there, and appreciating the channel, and respecting it, and respecting the ocean. So obviously a lot of thoughts that go through your head every time, but the experience is always it's the highlight of my year.
Yeah, look, I think what you've mentioned there is very, I think, repetitive with different people that have been to Hawaii a lot of times. And like when I was young, when Grant Kenny was young, when Dean Gardner was young, and Oscar Chalopsky was young, all of the guys that I've had a lot to do with in my career in the ski race have said it's like they all had the event introduced to them like it was this mythical type of a place to paddle, where you get out in the middle and no matter how experienced you are in the channel, or how experienced you are as a paddler but not in the channel yet, there's always a new experience. It's not like you can know exactly where all your competitors are because you're spread out so much, and it's one of those races that just is never over until you've crossed the finish line. It's just so unpredictable what's going to happen out there.
Oh yeah, you can never say, oh well, I'm going to go north, because that's the way that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
You've got to get in it and then assess it. Assess your competitors, see what the channel's doing, where's it taking you, where is your competitors going, and how are you doing relative to them. It becomes a cover game. I mean, I've lost channels in the end when we thought we were 10 minutes ahead, and then we were rounding Diamond Head, and there's a boat passing you. It's like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you can't ever count yourself in or out until it's sometimes not even when you get to that bridge. I mean, you got all the way to the end, because you could have a down moment, somebody could be charging on you, and sometimes 100 meters can go away fast.
Yes.
So, it's, if you haven't done it, then you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy every minute of talking about it. There may be a few points in the middle of it you're going, what the hell am I doing?
Well, I think we've all done that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, look, Jim, thank you very much for your time. I won't chew up any more of your time, because not only your personal experiences in the channel itself, but also your time in Hawaii paddling, and also what you're now doing with the Federation are very, very valuable to, I'm sure, a lot of the people that we will be competing in the event this year, especially the newcomers to the race. And I look forward to catching you over there and seeing all the details unfold as the time gets closer.
Yep, very good. Thank you very much for helping educate us too on everything you guys know, and keep in touch and whatever we can do to help each other out going up, building up to this. So let's keep the collaboration going.
Beautiful. No worries. My pleasure, and look forward to seeing you in May.
Okay. Thanks, Clint.